Hi, everyone. Lisa Haven here. Well, media legend Michael Savage has just issued an eerie warning to the American people that I believe you desperately need to hear. But before I get into the report, just a quick break. If you've tried losing weight without success, then you can rest easy by realizing it's not your fault. Struggling with weight has nothing to do with working out more, changing your diet, or even getting more sleep. It all has to do with metabolism, which is dictated by genetics and largely outside of our control. The good news is there is a way to circumvent this, and it's similar to what Hollywood actors do when they prepare to get in shape for a particular role. And there's absolutely no work required on your part for this to work either. Results are nearly instantaneous. No hour-long exercises or changes to your diet are truly required to melt fat. It's called Keto with Lisa at ketowithlisa.com. I've personally noticed that my body fat has been melting since I have been taking it. I have specifically noticed that most of the fat loss has been around my waist and my stomach. This is by far the quickest and easiest path to weight loss that I've ever had. Keto with Lisa works similar to how the traditional keto diet works. While the traditional keto diet has you battling hunger all day and has you veer away from those favorite foods you like to eat, the keto powder is different. It requires none of that. This is why I love and use Keto Elevate at ketowithlisa.com. Let me take you to their actual website so you can see some of the benefits that they're offering. Right now, they have a 60-day money-back guarantee. So if it doesn't do what you want it to do, send it back, get your money back. And with every purchase, they are sending a meal to a hungry child in need. And that's just a benefit. On top of that, you get free coaching, free shipping, and a free ebook, The Ketogenic Foods. And on top of that, right now, you can save up to 51% off. So take advantage today of that special offer by going to ketowithlisa.com. And if you need more information on that, it can be found at the website or in the description box below. All right, back to the broadcast. So just what is this dire warning that was issued by media legend Michael Savage? Well, take a look at this article that I found on breitbartnews.com, and it's headlined this: Michael Savage warns U.S. will never recover from Biden's open border assault. We've crossed the line, an inflection point. Now, the article goes on to state this: in an exclusive interview with Breitbart News on Thursday, conservative radio legend Michael Savage warned the Biden administration is seeking to dissolve the country as it passes an inflection point, while highlighting key contributing factors, including the rapid flooding of the nation with illegal immigrants, in order to overwhelm the system, and destroys what he terms the three pillars that define a nation: its borders, its language, and its culture. Now, to get more specifically into some of the quotes by Michael Savage, I'm going to go a little bit further in the article, but here's a quote directly for him. Quote, "I've been using the tagline borders, language, and culture since 1994. But we all know that borders define a nation, language defines a nation, and culture defines a nation," he said. "Everything stems from these three concepts." He then accused the Biden administration of seeking to dissolve the country through an all-out assault against those pillars that define a nation. Now, everyone knows this except for the administration, which does not believe in borders, language, and culture. And let me just hit pause right there because I want to add something to what Michael Savage is saying there, and that's this. When the Biden administration came in, he made it very clear in his presidential campaign that he wants to stop the building and the funding of the wall. In other words, the Biden administration doesn't want a border. He wants the wall dissolved. Here's the problem I have, right? The Biden administration claims with the same breath that he's also properly vetting the people who are coming into the country. In other words, he's going to check and make sure they're not violent criminals, murderers, gang members, people who are trafficking, people who are bringing in drugs and all these things, you know, that come into the country to escape theirs because of criminal acts, right? If he's going to make that claim, then how are you able to vet anyone coming into the country if you don't have an entry point into the country. In other words, some area where you focus on. In other words, anybody can cross wherever there's an opening in the wall and get into the country, right? Huge sections of it, and they won't be properly vetted. That's why so many people are coming into the country, and the Biden administration has no idea who they are, if they've been vetted. They're not even getting tested or being vaccinated, if you will. They claim they're testing them, but how can you test them when they're entering in from all parts of the border? Right? It makes no sense. In other words, it's complete and utter chaos. And this is what Michael Savage is referencing a little bit of. But let me go on a little bit further in that same Breitbart article, because he expands. He says, quote, "They want to melt us down. They want to dissolve America into part of the new world order," which sounds very conspiratorial, right-wing conspiratorial. But you and I both know it's true, he added, blaming the radical left for the nation's ruin and melting it, amen, down into a cesspool in a matter of months. Savage highlighted the role of the media and the Democrat politicians. And here's what he says, quote, "The fact of the matter is the media is complicit." Yes, they are. I agree. As you well know, we keep hearing that 11 million illegals need to be normalized. Here's the problem. That number has been the same for 25 years. He keeps going. "I would guess that 60 million illegals are already in this country," he added, which explains how totally corrupt Democrat politicians can remain in office for so many years while taxpayers scratch their heads and say, "But I voted against that person." Very powerful point there. And he makes a very clear truth. Oh, it's 11 million. We've heard that number for year after year after year. Again, how come they don't know? Well, because there's gaps, big gaping areas. We have no wall. Anyone and anybody can get in without even being vetted. He goes on to make another statement here. He also described the hypocrisy of constantly attacking law enforcement, like our Border Patrol. He says this, "Don't look into the flooding of illegals. Look into Border Patrol, overwhelmed, outnumbered, and overran." He said this, mocking those who seek to investigate right now the Border Patrol agents for simply doing their job. It's a false narrative used to stroke near, which leads to dependence on the Democratic Party. Amen. And it really is leading to Democrat dependence, because when you have a bunch of people dependent on the government, they're going to constantly vote in more handouts and socialized policies. That's the point, to destroy the middle class, and that will 100% destroy the middle class. And here's what he's talking about here, an article by Breitbart. Maxine Waters, woman I can't stand. "Biden should know better than having horses chasing down black people." Wait, what? In other words, she's now turned the entire Border Patrol issue as some kind of racist event, like they always do. It isn't about racism. It has nothing to do with it. But yet here she is turning it into a racist issue, which piggybacks exactly what he's saying here. Michael Savage is saying on his report, right? They're stroking fear, getting more of a false narrative to get people to vote for the Democratic Party. And that's exactly what's happening. But he goes on. And he says this kind of in a conclusion about some of what's going on with the Republicans as well. And he says this, Michael Savage, quote, "And what they're doing is basically demolishing the United States as we know it, and nobody knows really how this ends. Claiming the U.S. has gone from a melting pot to a chamber pot in 9 short months under the most senile and willfully criminal president in American history," he again accused Republicans of cooperating. Where are the Republicans? Good freaking question. He asked. They're agreeing with him. The fact of the matter is we have no opposition party whatsoever. It's a one-party system, Democrats and Republicans, as I've said since 1994. And I don't believe he's wrong. I think it's a one-party system. That's why Republicans are constantly complicit. Oh, do whatever you want to do, Democrats, blah. We have a do-nothing Republican Party. Why? Because they're in bed with the Democrats. That's just it. There's a few handful of people in there, like Marjorie, Tom Cotton, and a couple others there who are doing the right thing, right? I'm not going to name them all, but there are a few. But a majority of them are Republicans in name only. They're Democrats in a Republican uniform. And that's really what has happened to our country. And in conclusion, he was asked, what does he see for the future of America? And he makes a very interesting statement. Here's what he says here, and I'm quoting Michael Savage. What is going to happen to this country when the country collapses? Michael Savage asks, when the nation's economy finally reflects the reality, who's going to pay for everything? He also reiterated that the nation's very survival is at stake. I don't think we can ever survive this, he said. The dam has broken, and I'm standing there watching the waters flooding the country and overrunning and riding all over me. And that's what I feel is happening with our values here in the United States of America. I mean, we have unexplainable numbers of migrants coming in. And all of you know about Del Rio, the bridge over there. Now all the thousands of migrants are mysteriously gone. And according to, Mayorkas, right, 12,000 out of 17,000 have just been released into the United States of America. Just let go. Just let go into our country. And I like this article here because he kind of sums up about how many over the past 8 months have been let in. According to Brendan Judd on Breitbart News, Biden's added nearly 1 million illegal aliens to the United States in 8 months. 1 million. And I like here what Blackburn has to say about it. And here's what she says on Breitbart. Biden is turning every town into a border town and every state into a border state. And here's what she says, quote, I think the thing we're hearing most about in my office right now is what's going on with the southern border, because it's amazing that we see this president with his decisions turning every town into a border and every state into a border state, Blackburn advised. And John, I think that with people watching what's happening, seeing the footage, and then hearing from these families of the Border Patrol and many of the Border Patrol themselves about their concerns, that they now realize this is a humanitarian crisis, a health crisis, an environmental crisis, and of course, a national security crisis. People are just coming in, not vetted, whatever. Not even, they don't even need to take the vaccine, but don't worry, that's just for us Americans here, but I digress. Anyhow, I'd love to get your thoughts, comments, and concerns on all of this, and please get to Restricted Republic. I've got some bombshell reports that you really have to see. That's at restrictedrepublic.com. Anyhow, I love all of you. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.